town administrators update, department report from facilities, and then action items, including action on the appointment of Aaron Berry as a full-time dispatcher, consideration and action on Kathy Peterson to the Historical Committee, consideration and possible action on an application for a one-day liquor license for Alice's Fitness and Dance for a burlesque show on December 1st, 2nd, January 27th, March 23rd, May 18th. Consideration and possible action to authorize the chair to execute a contract on oil. Consideration possible action to authorize the chair to execute agreement between the town of Sturbridge and the Federated Church of Sturbridge and Fiskdale for the use of real property. Consideration of possible action to expand the number of seats on the Special Events Committee. Consideration of possible action to accept the resignation letter of Carrie Ann Warren, effective September 26th. Consideration and possible action to accept the resignation letter from Margaret Neves from the Design and Review Committee, effective September 18th, 2023. Consideration and possible action to the effect of the resignation of David Zonia from the Zoning Board of Appeals, effective September 12th, 2023. Consideration and possible action to sign the proclamation between the Rotary Clubs of Sturbridge, Massachusetts and Starbridge, England. Consideration and possible action to authorize the chair to execute the contract with Massachusetts Broken Stone Company for the fiscal year 2024. Consideration and possible action to authorize the chair to execute the contract with Morton Salt Incorporated for delivery of road salts, old business, new business, correspondence, approval of minutes, citizens forum, and then hopefully adjourning. All right, with that, would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. We also have a moment of silence, and I'd like to specifically note Mariana Pauline Amato, who is Mary Lou Volpe's mother, who unfortunately passed a few days ago at the age of 91, and she wasn't able to make it tonight. But you know, all that Mary Lou's done for the town, I think it's just appropriate that we just take a moment to think about everybody suffering in the world, but just think about her and her family for a moment. So, thank you. Thank you for that. Public service announcements. Mr. Kapinski.
I have none, thank you.
Mary?
No.
Mary?
Just the ones listed: Trick or Treat, Horribles Parade, 5 to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, October 31st. The fire department's Horribles Parade starts behind the town hall at 7.
Great.
And that's actually joint with the Lions Club.
Excellent.
I will be making some announcement about town hall hours. There's been some discussion as to whether or not there's enough room to have everything going on. Town hall is open until 7. Plus, we also have staff with families, so we may either shift hours or we may have people use a lot of their personal time, but departments may be a little short-staffed. So I asked the public if you were going to come in that night, be aware there will be a lot of traffic behind town hall, probably around 6:30 or so. I would imagine it's going to start to build up. So if you do need to do town hall business, try to come a little on the early end and call ahead to make sure that whoever you need to do town business with will be in their office, because they may be home with their children getting ready for trick or treat.
Or just skip whatever work you got to do and go to the Horribles Parade, right?
You can say that. I think I just heard the board chair say to everybody, let's just go out and watch the parade.
I don't think the record will reflect that.
No.
So with that, we're going to the joint meeting with the Tantasco Regional School Committee. I think you're just coming on down. Is that what we're doing?
Yep. So officially, your meeting is open. They just officially have to open their meeting.
Yeah.
And then it's a joint meeting from there. Yep. And then they adjourn theirs.
Is there enough chairs?
Do we have enough chairs? There we go.
Close enough. Yeah.
Oh my God.
you guys have to start your meeting.
So you have to open officially.
Yeah, unless it was legally posted.
It was posted, but I still think they have to,
Well, they're mixed boards, so it's a little bit
yeah.
odd.
Do you officially open your meetings?
Well, when we have a full,
Yeah.
full committee.
Yep, so you should officially open.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:36.
All right.
Okay, could they introduce themselves?
Sure. So I don't think there would even be a quorum for this type of meeting being called anyways, so I think this is just because it's all the Sturbridge reps from the board. So I think we just probably just go ahead and have you guys introduce yourselves.
Want a motion?
No, you can go ahead.
I'm sorry, I missed.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm
Introduce
sorry,
yourself.
I'm not sure who I am tonight. Bill Bill Haggerty, Vice Chair of the Tantasco Regional School Committee.
Megan Panic. Karen Kopel. Whitney Goodwin.
Ted Goodman. All right. So, so procedurally, I think we're fine. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
So we had one applicant for the consideration for appointment, Ms. Beleza. Is Mary here?
No, she couldn't make.
Oh, that's right, yep. So, and the term would expire at the annual town election, April 8th, 2024. So this is a term that will go to until 2024. I believe you all have the information in your packets. I'm assuming you all got the information there. So the protocol is that it is a jointly appointed position. I'm assuming, I think you may make the motion?
I think we'll make.
Anybody can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were very comfortable with what we saw. She had indicated, I believe, that she was on the Burgess School Committee prior, so she has experience with school committees. She's got some fiscal and accounting background. So we were actually very pleased that we had a candidate that has some background in all of this, understands municipal government and education and finance, which altogether is quite the package you need to have for this position. She had indicated, I think, that she left, so the public can know, she had sort of left the Burgess Committee believing that because her children were no longer young, that it was appropriate for people who had children involved to be able to take those seats and move into those seats and have say at the elementary level. And she was looking to get back into it and move into it at this level. So for the public who's listening, that's the background on our applicant. I was actually very pleased to see what, that someone like this came in and showed that kind of interest, so.
Great, thank you, Robin. So we have any comments from starting with this board?
Well, I used to, before my legs got worse, I used to go to the school committee meetings at Burgess, and Mary always knew her material, and she really did a good job there for the kids and the school and the teachers. So I have no qualms with her.
The only comment I would have is my wife Samantha served with her on the Burgess School Committee and absolutely loved her. Said she was really smart and hardworking, so that's good.
Great. Mary, anything?
I guess I'll just echo everyone's sentiments. Clearly qualified, invested in the community, and a great choice.
Yeah, and I would support all of those comments, but to our guests, though, any comments, thoughts, concerns?
And no, not at all. I had the opportunity to work with Mary when she was the Burgess rep on the Tantasco Committee, and she was very diligent and very responsible, and I was sorry to see her go. I understood her reasoning, and I'm delighted to welcome her back.
Anything else, guys? All right.
Okay.
So I think,
I'll make a motion then to approve the appointment of Mary Beleza to the Tantasco Regional School Committee for a term to expire at the next annual town election on April 8th, 2024.
I'll second that, Mrs. Blanchard.
all right, all those in favor? And I think the ayes have it, so.
Wonderful.
There it is. That's
It was easy. Have a great night.
I'm delighted to see you.
It seems like a weird power play.
Bill, is there anyone in your family that doesn't have a cast?
Touche.
Promise next time I'll come with that one.
They still young.
Thank you.
Goodness. Thank you, everybody. All right, so we are moving on to the town administrator update. Robin?
Yeah, so we had a few. well, they weren't a quorum, so I guess they're okay not adjourning. Either that or they're perpetually meeting for the next 2
There's
weeks.
also a mix of, well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so just a few brief updates for you. I don't have much in an update on the immigration situation. The numbers have steadied out since I last saw you, at approximately, I believe it's 58 or 59 rooms being used right now in the same 2 hotels. I did meet with Pastor Dave from the Federated Church, who came by. He has asked me to, invited me to attend service and asked me to speak after service on Sunday, October 8th, 9th, whatever Sunday is next week, 8th, to speak to the ladies in the coffee group after, and the people in the coffee group, a little bit about what I've learned or what I know, and how we're working with the National Guard. So I will attend that meeting. The pastor has been just wonderful in sort of bridging everything and just following the rules that he can find out from the state. He's actually been a source of information for us. Sometimes he has more information than I do. So that's the update there. I attended a Worcester Regional Transit Authority meeting on September 20th, and then later that afternoon, I went to meet the new executive director. Josh has just stepped into that role. Very, very bright young man. And while I was there, I did bring up, you had asked me to talk a little bit about whether WRTA could do anything for transportation. I asked them if there was any way that they could go to the state for the funding to run some type of a transport from the hotels to the Walmarts. They did approach the state. They sort of got a, well, maybe, but not, nothing's set up, nothing's in place, we're working on things answer. But he is on it. He's had other town administrators ask the same from WRTA towns. It appears that any idea for this is coming at the town level to say, look, we don't want people walking in the middle of our streets for anybody's sake, our residents and the people. Nobody wants to hit someone, nobody wants anybody to get hit. And we do not have the kind of roads to get from those hotels to Walmart safely. And frankly, from the days in, there's no way to get anywhere safely. So they are going to follow up. He will continue to follow up. This really should be a state-funded program, frankly, and WRTA could use the funding, and so he is working on that. We just also discussed, they asked me generally what the potential for development and growth was, what our senior services would be. We just had a very good conversation about WRTA and its services in Sturbridge. Special town meeting, I will, with your support, like to do a special town meeting. I believe it's January 22nd. It would be at Burgess School. Tantascwa just didn't have the dates, the Mondays held for us. We couldn't get into one until at least February or March. This would basically be for 2 easements that the Trails Committee needs. We've gotten all the paperwork done. It's just the final article would have to be done. And I likely will have, I think Annie will be ready to go to CPC for the ADA upgrades at 60 Cedar to get those bathrooms and the parking lot and the beach upgraded. It took a little longer than we had planned because the original project came back a lot more money than we thought because of all the sidewalk work. We're going to hold all the sidewalk work for now. This is really about allowing people to have handicap bathrooms there, safe parking, and access to the beach. So we'd like to put that on a special so we can get that rolling. If we got that funding, we could actually do that pretty quickly, that work. So that's an update on that, as long as the board's okay, unless there's any resistance or problems.
So the logic is you want to break down ground on these projects subsequent of, you know.
Yeah, we can
whenever you
move them quicker. We can just move them forward instead of having to wait till June and tie up things in June, frankly. This will just get these moving. I am going to ask my directors if there's anything else in the meantime that they need to have done. I don't want to make it too big of a deal. People don't want to come out in January, on the 22nd of January. I don't want people to feel like something's getting by them on a cold January night and not look like we're welcoming. So I do want to keep this very limited, but if there are critical things, Barbara's making sure we don't have any of the unpaid bills or anything like that that we need to clean up sometimes mid-year. We didn't do one last year, but I think just this year we might need to. It'd just be wise to get these done.
Any comment, questions?
No, I just, it's not definitive yet, but I was just wondering how close in the dollar amount for the projects.
For the,
The ADA.
oh, Annie, yeah, she's got numbers. She has
Yeah.
pretty clear numbers to take to CPC before it even gets anywhere. You all
Yeah.
would have that before it went on a warrant anyway. So, yeah, she had the final work done on that. Last week, I think she got the numbers. I'm supposed to meet with her tomorrow, I think tomorrow, to go over the design, the final design that she has in her hands right now. And then I'll have numbers, which I can report to you next meeting anyway.
Any other comments?
I would just say we've got to make sure we properly advertise for Burgess doing the switch. We don't want to confuse people.
Yeah, and we definitely have signs up at the school and everything, just, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
and I think
fantastic.
your instincts on keeping it, the things that are, I don't know, everything I guess could be controversial, but relatively non-controversial, things that are already in a pipeline, they're just need
Right,
technical curing, that's one thing I don't think anybody minds, but everything else should really be going on in the main town meeting.
Yeah, I don't want to disenfranchise anybody.
Perfect.
But I think the ADA compliance, like you said, is pretty non-controversial. We're going to do that some way, we're going to fund that some way or
No,
another,
I mean,
so.
these
yeah.
are projects that have probably been supported in other ways already, so.
Yep, and the easements are no financial burden to the town, so.
Correct.
I sat in on a National Grid meeting, just informational to you all. They're talking about how they're going to handle, the state has moved to, this is much of New England, a high-end electrical legislation, if you will, mandates, and that is going to have tremendous impact on the grid. So as they're mandating that HVAC systems like that at our library, or highly recommending, or you're not getting your grant money or anything else, and if you're a part of green communities, all of these things are forcing us into more electric. It's also with the new stretch codes in the homes, there's more and more electric discussions on if people can still have gas stoves. There's a whole host of things that may be coming down the line. And regardless of what anybody thinks about that, National Grid, if it happens, has got to be prepared to handle the load. So they're talking a lot about how they're going to handle that load, and they just had us in on general infrastructure meetings. This was more of a light and fluffy at this point. They talked a lot about how they're going to use, what they're going to use to power their electricity, how they're going to harness power, because it kind of defeats the purpose if you have to amp it up by using that much more coal. I'm not sure exactly where the benefit is, but if they're using, they're looking at their whole array of how to do this. It's huge funding, by the way, and the reason I even bring it up is that down the road, this is going to have costs, even if we went to municipal aggregation, even if you went to an alternate energy supplier, these are basically going to be those main costs that National Grid's going to even pass on to all of those groups, like a Constellation or any of those, because this is all the infrastructure cost. So people need to be aware of it, because even if you shop and market, or we market for them through aggregation, prices are going to go up on electric, and people just need to be aware of that. So I'll just keep it in the back of my head as I hear more from Grid. Once I hear definitive things, I'll let you guys know, but I just want you to know that there's a discussion that's happening. Gateway signage, in fact, I was just sharing this with ARPA. We continue to meet with our vendor and designer. We met on site at 1:31, so if people saw me out there with Gene and the police chief and some people with big pieces of plywood, we were figuring out how it would look, where it would look, and how it would be best seen. We are extremely excited about this. We're getting final cost estimates. It definitely will fall into the range of what we all put in the betterment category. And tonight, you will see, it's not on your original document, but we made a motion tonight at ARPA to also add money into from ARPA to make sure that we have proper plantings and do this right. It's going to be a very expensive investment, but if we're going to do this, we really do want to do this right. And I got a sense from the board that it was the will of this board to invest the funds into this. And this is all funding that does not come out of our regular general operating budget. It comes out of ARPA money. One of the key things for anybody who is wondering, that intersection is going to be redesigned relatively soon, supposedly. DOT's version of relatively soon. We'll all be retired. But because of that, we are also designing this, and the designer is putting in the back of his mind that this can move when it has to. It's a very big, heavy, sturdy structure, but it can be professionally moved, stored, and then put back when they put a rotary in. So, in 2052, it can return home.
I won't worry about it.
So, Worcester Regional Retirement, just an grant application. The town applied for a Mass Office of Disability grant for an updated study for our Disabilities Commission of all our properties. We are due to upgrade our study, and once we get that, I'm still looking for some names for our Disability Commission, but we have Becky Plimpton has stepped up to serve as my staff liaison for that. And I have one of our volunteers, a young woman named Katie, is going to be our Disabilities Commission point person. She lives in this town. She actually works in disability architecture for different communities, and actually does this as work for other communities. She's talked to her supervisor, who said he's fine with her actually donating that service here in our own town. So she will be our Disabilities Commission advisor, and Becky will be my staff liaison, Becky Plimpton. Worcester Regional Retirement, just so you know, I submitted my name for the vacant position for the election for the Worcester Retirement Board. On two fronts, our employees are all going to be retirees someday and have a vested interest in this, but I also feel it's important, it is a huge hunk of our budget. How this money is invested, where this money goes, how we're paying this money. I just think, I don't get involved, you guys probably, I don't get involved in a ton of statewide things or committees or groups, because a lot of times I think they're, frankly, a lot of schmoozing and not a lot of substance for the town that you work in, and not really wise use of taxpayer dollars, but given that so much taxpayer money goes to the retirement system, and in fairness to employees, it's part of what we recruit with. So on both ends, you want it to be fair and lucrative, but you don't want it to be bankrupting, and I'd like to know how they're amortizing these things, and are they looking at realistic rates of returns? And they may be doing very well, but there have been some things that have gone on that some of us haven't necessarily agreed with, and so I thought it was something worth taking the time, and if I do get elected to it, having Sturbridge have a voice on. I thought this was worth my time.
Now, when's the election?
I had to withdraw if I didn't want to by the end of September. I think it's next month or the month after.
And who votes exactly?
I think all members.
All members?
Yeah, I just send a little bio up and get 10 signatures and,
Do you know
nomination.
how many others are?
I do not
running?
know. No, I do not know. So,
Good luck.
thank you.
Well, we'll see if Mary votes for you.
No, I'm not, yeah, teachers,
Yeah,
yeah.
a different
Oh, yeah,
system.
you're a different
Yeah,
system.
different. I could try,
My gosh, I hope if you voted for me to be a town administrator, you would really vote for town
with all the other stuff
You
going
trust me
on in the
with this.
world,
You should trust
that
me
would
with
be
that.
minor.
I know.
PFAS litigation, as you know, there's been a discussion of PFAS and water supplies. We have not tripped over any numbers in our water supply at this point, but we show some levels in certain places. They're well within range. However, we do think it's prudent to get involved in the class action suit now and get our names associated, because if at some point they put a zero tolerance for it, and DuPont and those companies are paying out, I want to be in line for the money. So Napoli Law is taking the lead on this nationally. KP can be a liaison to Napoli for us. However, I did speak with, and I disclosed Mayor Fung, who I had worked for in Cranston, is working with Pannone, Lopes, Devereaux, and O'Gara. He had reached out to me and said, are you working with anybody on this? And I said, well, we have a little latitude with this. He's also partnered with Napoli through his people. One of the reasons I'm leaning toward going the direction with him is, A, I have a reporter that I can pick up the phone and get a very clear and easy answer. B, as there'd be no additional upfront cost to bring them on for this. And C, his partner that's working on this has a lot of experience specifically in EPA legislation. And so if the board is comfortable, I would like to use it. I disclose it and bring it forward only because I did happen to work for Mayor Fung through the years. But I think it's just appropriate that I bring that to you because of that. They do not, any money they would get from this would be on the back end of a suit. So there's not tax dollar money. But I just am comfortable working with them on this.
Isn't Fung out of Rhode Island?
Yes, but their
Oh.
practice, but his partner is working, has been, was, I guess, the mayor of a town in southeast Massachusetts, and has worked on Massachusetts environmental law as well as EPA law. So they're licensed for Mass.
Okay. Was there a cost difference?
No, there's no upfront cost for us at all. And on the back end, I think the distribution to the attorneys is going to be done on the settlement end, not out of the town.
So
There's
so
no-
are we engaging with a contingency fee with them?
Nope, no contingency.
Okay, so they're getting paid on the back end without
I
on a
think through this-
non-contingent
yeah.
fee on a regulatory enforcement action, and
Now you're talking language I don't understand.
yeah,
I believe it's like the opioid, in many ways similar to the opioid, that
It's
nobody gets
really-
paid to be our attorney on it.
I mean, I don't have a strong feeling either way. I don't know either of these laws. I mean, I know KP obviously, but I would be curious to know how the honestly, probably not even about this, just more broadly on how
Yeah.
the payment on something like this is happening, because typically how this would operate is that you would need some sort of certification by a court for a class of this level. If you're going to do it, if they're putting the money in, then they're getting some sort of false claims litigation, like a key tam style litigation, which still would be have some sort of fee agreement that's approved with varying percentages to the party, because they would still need to have that core sort of interest, or it would have to be negotiated with the court, like, those class
Yeah.
actions on TV. So you can just get us a little information on that?
So how I had left it when I spoke with him was that if the board was willing to let me go down that road, I would speak to him and get more details. I was under the impression there is no cost to us, whether we went KP or them, but I will find out for certain how the fee on the
Well,
other
if
end is gonna
they're both
work.
working with Napoli, that means that they both have different economic relationships with Napoli.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is does that back end equal the same amount of money?
Right, do
to
we
us?
lose more if we go with one versus
Yeah, because
the other
it's not gonna be
effectively?
like,
Right.
they're
It's-
not gonna be doing something different. It's the
But are we
same
gonna get
price.
less if, right, so let me find out, and I'm gonna find out from KP then the same thing, if, what they're getting out of that cut, if you will.
Yeah.
Someone's getting paid, they've gotta be getting, the middleman's getting paid.
Oh, yeah, they get paid a
The question is it coming
substantial.
off, yeah, and that's why they're hustling it, all hustling it, but
Yeah.
I do sometimes, as we've discussed, KP's wonderful for certain things, but I do find that sometimes if I need a quick answer or just a very down and dirty understanding of something, it's not always the
Well, effectively in
most
this, from I'm understanding this correctly, which I might not be, effectively it's like you're talking about who do you want to be your broker to buy insurance?
pretty much.
Yeah, that's really
That's
what the
pretty
choice
much,
is.
who am I more comfortable interacting with on this particular issue is really where it comes down to. I will find out, though, and as I said to you, I just don't, because I didn't understand it enough, that if the board was willing to consider that, I would talk to him and find out more details, but I wasn't gonna go that route and take everybody's time if there was not open room for consideration on that.
I mean, the rest of them
Oh,
talking
yeah,
a lot.
no,
What do you guys think?
no, your idea on getting a little bit more
Yeah,
information on the dollar.
yeah. Okay.
I'm with that.
All right.
Certainly people don't do it all gratis.
No, they're getting paid on the back end somewhere.
Yeah.
I just don't know if there's a flat rate.
The only
they're all
people that
getting
do
paid the
that is
same,
us.
or- Yeah, right. You know, I just don't know how that's structured. Are they all getting the same percentage on the back end? A
Yeah,
percentage of
or
what, you know,
somebody's
they're
getting
getting 15% of whatever every town gets, or are they negotiating their
Yeah.
own
I mean,
rate?
it's probably all through the AG anyway, so it's all probably the same, but I don't know.
But you should know that for sure, absolutely. And then finally, back to 60 Cedar. So you asked the amount, again, I don't have the specific amount yet, but I believe it's just over 5. With the parking, with the sidewalks, it was gonna be over $1 million. So that's why we're like, you know, that's a lot right now to be coming to CPC for, if we can get 500,000 to make everything accessible. But Recreation did vote unanimously for it. So that is my very wordy first part of my update. I did send you, and we don't have to discuss it tonight, I just wanted you to see it. Just a goals, we had put together, Michelle, from the notes from the meeting we had at a 2020 Town Administrators Goals and Priorities List. You all had brought this up the other day, wanted to sort of get a little bit of a status report. So I just provided a status report. The number to what the goal was, the bulleted points are where we're at on them. I don't know if you just want to have these for your records and look them over, or you want to ask any questions on them tonight, but.
Well, I just have a quick question, may I?
Of course, yeah.
On number 14, working on TIF.
Yep.
For smaller businesses. Usually, it's a business that approaches
Yes. Yes.
the town.
Yeah, so that's why, I mean, I'm a little unsure if that's more to set up an easier way for TIFs to happen for small businesses, to look at redoing the procedure. Because right now, we don't actively say, hey, we want to give you an incentive to come here. But sometimes people do want to do incentive programs. And so I think, when I say no action, I think it's just really that I haven't kind of got my head around
Rolling
exactly
your
your
head.
question, how we want to do that. And how aggressively we want to do incentives. I mean, and for whom?
Right.
So it's a lot to think about.
Yeah,
And I
because
really
I know,
frankly haven't.
you know,
decided on
we've
it.
done it, but larger companies.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think at some point, it might be a good idea to have it as an agenda item to review our TIF policy, because it's gotten to the point where I feel like every new business that comes in almost has an expectation of a TIF. There was a period of time we didn't do any, back when I was on the finance committee, and there was this sense in Sturbridge that we were anti-business, although I do not agree with that, but it kind of took on a reputation, so we started giving TIFs, and we have a lot of outstanding TIFs right now, and I think it shouldn't be viewed, and I know our application is right online, but it shouldn't be viewed as an automatic, because we had come up with some, back when Mary and I were on the board together, criteria for, you know, satisfying the requirements, and it shouldn't be as though if you were gonna come here anyway, like the cold storage was very well financed, and when I look back, I sometimes question why I voted in favor of a TIF for that, because they were coming anyway and they're financed, and it should be for new businesses that really need that help with deferring their real estate taxes. So I'm glad you put that down. I just think it might be useful at some point for us to revisit our TIF policy in terms of, is it an automatic to apply, or do you have to really check off some of the boxes?
I would appreciate that as a discussion, because there's a lot to put your head around with where the board's will is on this.
Well, it's also, the thing about TIFs are, some businesses cost a lot of money. And so if you're giving a business that's really service heavy a TIF, maybe there's probably, I'm not creating any rules here, but it's a little less, if they're calling the police every 5 minutes, if they're tying up resources, they're creating traffic concerns, versus some people not going 9 to 5, just pay their taxes and leave and nobody. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's a lot, it is, it depends on the nature of it. And, sometimes when we talk about small business TIFs, I've seen situations where a doctor had a small doctor's office, and he was a podiatrist, and he developed just massive, foot practice that was like the premier foot practice in, the central part of Rhode Island. And they gave him an incentive, a local TIF, because he was taking a building, he took the footprint of that lot, made that building quadruple the value that it was gonna be on the tax roll, and he increased from 4 employees to 25 employees. So it was a tiny business still, but effectively, you could argue is gonna be putting so much back into the community. So really, but there were very clear parameters on that, percentage increase of employees, percentage increase on the value of the property, anticipated varying education and job skill levels. All that stuff was part of the criteria that the city council used to determine.
Right.
It would get done by the economic development
And we
department.
do have a policy online.
Right.
I have a friend in another town who was considering a TIF for their town, and so she had gone on and looked at ours, and I kind of reviewed our policy and thought, it's been a number of years since we have revisited, because we have TIFs for very large businesses, Holiday Inn Express.
Right.
I know a few years ago, the
Public
professional
house.
office building on 20, but we also found a need for more professional office space.
Right.
So we granted it for that reason, but I think it's worth revisiting it and just going over to see if we're still in the same headset.
Yeah, I really didn't feel comfortable. I felt it was kind of going to waste everybody's time on the staff side if I went too heavy with this, because I really just didn't know which direction to go, to be honest with you, so.
Yeah, well, we can review.
But I just wanted to give you a sense of where I was at. I know we had talked about this a couple weeks ago. You wanted to know where we were at, so that is where I'm at on that. And then tentative ARPA Senior Center funding. So I sent you an updated memo today because there were some changes on numbers. I took this to ARPA today. ARPA sent forward 2 votes. It's a little complicated to explain. The Senior Center project had $13.2 million with a $7.24, about $900,000 contingency built in. The numbers came in with the 2 alternates at $13,605, with a difference of $405,520. $50,000 comes off the top because we have an earmark grant for furniture and whatnot that had been built into that original contract. But then Alt 2 is an upgrade to the generator that's going in to make it able to handle the Arnold Road pump station, because the Arnold Road pump station needs a generator, and the generator that would be bought just for the senior center alone would not be sufficient. It needs probably a $94,000 upgrade in the generator to make it also work for the pump station. That money, ARPA made a motion to have funded from ARPA basically as a water project, because it's a water department project. It's being piggybacked on the senior center project for financial efficiency, but under the same contract. But really that funding, ARPA made a motion to vote for $95,000 to go to the funding of that for the project. So we take that 95 off the number, because that's not going to be part of the senior center 13.2, till you take 50, and 95, you take 145 off the 405.20. What did I say, 145? Yeah. And you're still approximately 380 over. The reason it's still 380 is because the project will likely go 3 months longer than expected, if we put it in order today for the electrical equipment we need, they're telling us 56 to 60 weeks for electrical, which means the project will likely go over 12 months. We don't want to make it a 15-month contract because overall, all the costs on that contract associated go up, but we want to have the funding for 3 months of the architecture and OPM on the other end if we need it. So that's another $125,000, once you subtract the 145 from the 405 and add back 120. So we went to ARPA and we asked ARPA for $380,000 in a contingency. Because ultimately, we have $900,000 built in for contingency. If we were to eat all of that up, we're gonna be 380 short. If we don't eat all of that up, we're not gonna need 380 from ARPA. But we can't effectively reduce the contingency to this project for about to 500,000, which is what we'd be doing. If we built in that 380, the contingency for this project would be about 530,000, way too low for a renovation project and dangerously low. I can't sign off on a contract because in my heart, I'm not signing off on a funded project if I do that. The only way I feel comfortable signing off on a funded project is that we know we have 380 sitting at ARPA if we need it. ARPA did vote to support it. And so those are the two items tonight, and then also an additional $50,000 for beautification that's going to go along with the gateway sign and any other plantings around it. So there were 3 ARPA items, 2 of which you were aware of tonight, sort of as one unit. The numbers were a little different from my original memo. And then one that got added at the last minute tonight. That's sort of the easier one. But, so the 3 motions from ARPA would be a motion for $95,000 to upgrade the generator on the senior center project for the water department. The second would be a motion for $380,000 to serve as a contingency for the senior center project. If it is not used, it's returned to ARPA. And the third is $50,000 for gateway beautification. So those are my 3 requests from ARPA.
Okay, and the 380 is because you want a 7% or so
Yeah.
contingent
Yep.
buffer on the whole project?
Mhm.
What have we lost in the bids from previous bids, if anything?
About 900,000 it came down.
But, yeah, okay, that,
Oh, what if
I
we
meant it in a
cut-
different way, but it's the same
Yeah,
question.
there's
different-
some, there were some cuts. They stayed with the skylights. That was, if we took all 2, we had to keep all 1, which were the skylights. There's been some, I think, reshaping of it a little bit and changing of it a little bit, but Leslie has been involved and feels comfortable, I think, programmatically, that she's still gonna be able to do what she needed to do with the project. There was some trimming on some finish work and things like that. The real thing that came down was the HVAC, which we knew had been like way overinflated, and hundreds of thousands of that 900,000 was HVAC. A change in the type of sprinkler system to an equally efficient, less expensive sprinkler was 100 or 150,000. So some minor tweaks and then a major on the HVAC, which was where we expected if we were going to be able to make this work. We figured it was HVAC where the problem was.
Where, if we approve this tonight, when would the actual purchase of, stock basically be?
This would start, they literally want me to sign, if you approve this tonight, what I'm going to ask synonymous with this is that you will approve me to sign the letter to enter the contract agreement with the low bidder. So, because technically it's procurement officer, I sign it, but this is an awfully big one for me not to have you say, yes, you're comfortable with me signing with the low bidder at these numbers that I'm sharing with you tonight. So I would sign that letter tomorrow, literally, and then you at the next board meeting, the 16th, would sign the contract.
Well, I'm fine with that on some level, but that's a little fast without a presentation to what the actual project is, like a final presentation.
So then
of
that
the-
would be on the, so we could do that on the 16th and have that, at that point, basically the building committee would have to come in to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Part of the building committee won't be here, and I won't be here on the 16th.
Okay.
I know I was going to say the same thing, I'm sure the building committee's thrilled to get money, but they haven't met to go over the new numbers
you.
yet.
Yeah. They met today and voted, they voted to recommend
that's
to
right,
me.
they had a
Yeah, they
1
met
o'clock
today.
meeting.
Yeah, they met today, but you haven't seen
Yeah,
the
I mean,
bid.
we, not that, again, I'm not, we've confidence in them, but just from a point of due diligence, we can't green light effectively a $12 million project without
Yeah.
taking 5 minutes to go over what
I
the
am also
president-
not here on the 16th.
Okay, so we'd have to do
You
that.
coming with me?
Need it done.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I know they want to move. We have to do 30 days. We have to award the bid within 30
Do
days. We could do a special.
I would be willing to meet on a special meeting for this. I
Do you
think
want
it
to
would
do
make
the
sense.
Tuesday
Does that
night
work for
next
you
week?
guys? Well, let me before I start talking to the
10th.
game, right?
We could do a Tuesday night meeting, if you want to do something at 6:30 on Tuesday or 6.
I can do it. I mean, we could also, well,
Please, how do you?
could we cover all of our business on an alternative day so the rest of the board doesn't have to come on the 16th? I feel badly
Yeah, if
that
we
you're doing
have-
it just
yeah,
for
but we could
Mary
move-
and I don't know if we want
Yeah,
to
no,
just
that's
switch
fine.
the
We
date.
could,
Or
because
if
then
you
if you
mind
guys
coming
aren't
2
gonna-
weeks in a
Well,
row.
both of you aren't going to be
Next
here on the
Tuesday.
16th anyway,
There's a
so,
public hearing that night.
oh, we have a
16th.
16th.
That's fine. This is a big project. Sometimes we gotta do stuff out.
Okay,
This probably
I'm
deserves
free
a special,
next
to be honest.
Tuesday.
Tuesday's fine.
And then we can look at it and
I'm
we'll-
fine on Tuesday.
No, I think we're all good on Tuesday, and I'm just to Mary's point, it's okay.
Okay.
As long as there's a quorum.
It's actually a quorum, that's what
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
But we'll check with Mary Lou
Yep,
when she
okay.
comes back up for air.
Terrific,
And we
okay.
have to reschedule
So we'll do
those.
that, we can do that the 10th.
And I just want to
What time?
oh, go
Want to
ahead.
do 6:30 or 6?
6:30.
Whatever works for
I
everybody.
mean, if the building committee is,
Yeah, 6:30.
you just want to check with them.
That's, everybody knows that, okay.
Let's do 6:30 on the 10th. I didn't look at my schedule right, I should have.
Yeah, then we don't lose too much time. But either way, I think the ARPA vote, if we could do the ARPA vote tonight, so that I can at least say to them, it's okay to move forward to start pulling this all together, even though I won't sign anything.
Sure, I think that's fine with me. Does the board have any strong?
No, I just wanted to just chime in a little bit. So there was we all did vote unanimously to support all three of the motions, but there was concern, and I think Parisa raised it, and we all agreed. I mean, we are encumbering, I was going to say encompassing, that's not the word I want, encumbering our funds for a long period of time, and we only have until next December to commit to projects. So we're going to continue to meet so that we're not in a position where if this money isn't used and there's enough contingency money left in the building project, you know, we have our 700,000, we don't know what to do with it. And that's one of the reasons I made the motion, because we want a beautification for the 50,000. Because this is going to take a big chunk away from ARPA now. We had about 700,000 and, you know, 380 plus 90, we're looking at 470, almost 500,000 of the 7 going to the senior center project. So we did get a commitment. The 2 members that attended, we are going to meet in June with them, and they indicated that at that point, they'll have a better sense of whether they're going to need all of our money. Because initially, we were not going to know until next October, and it gave us basically 2 months to review more ARPA projects. And I did express, although I supported it, I did express my interest in not having used all of the ARPA money for the senior center, maybe using some of our $4 million of free cash. Our TA made a good point, she's not comfortable going back to the town and asking for more. But it's a little bit of chicken and egg, because one of the reasons we have as much as we do, 4 million, we haven't given anything back to the taxpayers to offset the tax rate, is for things that we need. And so we're not giving it back, and yet we're not using it either. We're kind of sitting on this 4 million. That was my position. I'm supporting it because I also don't want to go back to the townspeople. But, you know, we haven't given any money back, and now we're using ARPA money for something that I would consider a good use of free cash. And so we had that kind of dilemma a little bit.
I think that if I may, the couple things, maybe it makes sense to have a contingency plan, just pick projects so we know in advance, so there isn't, you can take a vote even on if the money snaps back and we're not gonna repay it, that we know what to do without having to do anything. That's just the first thought.
That's pretty much what we all
Yeah.
agreed with.
Like an add back.
Yeah, and add back, and then
Right.
if we're gonna lose some value, I mean, because this money's getting sent one way or the other, so if we have to have a town meeting or something to preserve.
Plus, you said there were 2 people from the committee there.
Yes.
Did they hear
Yes.
all the discussion?
Yes, yes. And so we are behind
Yeah, but they
ARPA
also,
funding, but
they also said that they would have a better picture June.
by June. Charlie indicated June. Initially, it was October. And as we pretty much came to Jamie's conclusion that we have to continue to meet and have some plans
Prioritize, absolutely.
in the upside that we don't have to use the ARPA money, because we did give SAFE money back. I know how we could spend that money was much more restricted than the ARPA money. But we did give a chunk of it back, and that was tough.
Yeah, no, we will not give, we will not
We
give
were not
money back.
happy
We will
doing
not
that,
give money
so.
back. But, yeah, and I think that that's an important point, and we will have a much better sense, I think, on those extra 3 months, which is 125,000 of this, by June. I think the project schedule, if nothing else, will be hammered down a lot better by then. So that's, right there's part of it. But, yeah, that, we absolutely agree, prioritize, as a group, we felt that was critical. We just had an add-back list as money comes off.
Yeah, but, June, that would still give plenty of
Till
time.
December,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, and we would then, in the meantime, every month still be setting priorities for things that we want.
Yeah, and we'll have a better sense of what everything costs at that point too, because all the orders will be in at that point.
And as we talked about, because I agree, Mary and I don't always agree on the free cash thing, but I absolutely agree with her that philosophically, this is a perfect free cash thing, except that we promised the taxpayers we wouldn't come back on this one. But there are other things that ARPA might have considered doing that if we do run short, ARPA could fund half of, and then we could go for free cash if they're projects that warrant free cash type stuff.
Yeah, we can
So,
get creative next fall if we
Yeah,
need to.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think that'll come to that, but if we have to figure something out,
Yep.
figure it out. Okay, so you want a motion on,
95,000 for the upgrade on the generator for
Generator.
water department.
I wrote HOH,
Yes,
it's a formula for,
yes.
okay, so I will make a motion then that we approve the 95,000 for the generator for water department, the 380,000 contingency, and what was the beautification number?
50.
Can't remember small numbers. Okay, for the senior center project.
So I think the 50 is the sign, right?
50's for the beautification and gateway sign.
Yeah, okay, so
Yep.
yeah, no, sorry.
Yep, 380
Okay.
for the senior.
So I think that
Yep.
reads, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor? Nice have it. No?
And that's it from me.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. Robin Chavez, the facilities manager, for those at home that don't know. I'm here tonight for my annual department update report to the board. It's been a very busy year since October of '22. I can't believe it's already October of '23. But we've had a successful year. The operating budgets for the buildings allowed us to accommodate new alarm systems, and increase our security in our public buildings. Thank you all for learning new codes. And we've done some dormer repairs at the public safety complex, and we've also been, we received earlier this year a large donation from a nonprofit that was closing in Worcester. They donated us approximately 20 workstations, full cubicles, desks, and a bunch of odds and ends as well. So those have been implemented in the building, the safety complex, the DPW, places where there were no workstations or there were inadequate broken workstations. And we thank that group. They wanted to remain anonymous, but we thank them very much, and we thank the DPW for helping us, and also for the departments that received the furniture. I very much appreciate all their help cleaning out and making room for these new items and helping get everything in. So we did some rearranging in those spaces, and we also did some rearranging in center office in preparation for the new pool clerk. So, and IT was also instrumental in all of these as well. So I thank Jeremy for his help. One of the emergency repairs that we're still in the process of working on is emergency replacement of the above-ground diesel tank at the DPW. The diesel tank has an alarm on it. It went into alarm in August because there was diesel fuel between the tank and the outer lining of the tank. Not an environmental leak, but something we still have to address. So that is the public hearing, if I'm not mistaken, on the 16th, that we added a tank to that site, and it has to be approved for additional fuel storage at the DPW site. So you will see that at your next meeting. Other good news is that we received a Maya grant last year. We added 6 backup cameras on the DPW vehicles, and we had water roof inspections, all done thanks to our insurance company and their grant program, so that was free to the town. The roof report was included in the department report for you all as water and sewer commissioners, so you can enjoy that. And I know that Heather and Shane are visibly working on that and preparing for capital, since it's right around the corner. Other projects that we successfully completed this year were the town hall storm windows, the flooring in town hall, the phase 2 environmental assessment at DPW, some additional interior improvements at the North Cemetery building, controls project on the HVAC at the safety complex, and some additional lighting. Those were courtesy of the Green Communities funding, and they were at no cost to the town. And then a couple that I'm underway are with the Recycle Center fire alarm, the Joshua Hyde Library HVAC project, archiving and scanning record project with ARPA funds, and a couple of smaller capital projects that are in the operating and capital budgets for this year. So, and additionally, participation in getting ready to move the Council on Aging into their temporary facilities, pending contract award. So that's been a busy year. It's going to keep getting busier, and I'm here if you all have any questions.
I don't have any, but for the
No,
board.
it's,
Please, Mary?
I don't have any questions. This was a great report. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you.
nice to see those town hall storm windows finally done. Only took, what, about 4 years?
Yes, yeah. Again, with projects that we price out, we put a contingency on our ask when we go to town meeting, and yet continuously just market is outpacing us faster than we can move. And it is nice to not have a draft across my keyboard, even when the window is closed. So very, very appreciated.
And the project went relatively smooth.
It did. It went very smoothly.
Was
When it
not
was,
disruptive.
yeah, and a local vendor out of Brimfield, so that was nice as well.
Even better.
All right. I don't think-
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Thanks, Robin.
Please, good attention to detail.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are on to action items, and I think we are on to our friends in the police department. Come on down.
So tonight we present Mr. Barry to you as a dispatcher.
Yes.
Lieutenant
yes.
Bateman is
Good
here
evening.
to
Good evening, Lieutenant.
take the lead for us.
Lieutenant Bateman here on behalf of Chief Dessert, who couldn't make it tonight. So as the town administrator said, we're bringing Mr. Aaron Barry. He is a 2-year veteran with full-time dispatch qualifications and certifications already. He comes from the town of Southbridge. He is getting married next week, so he's very excited.
Lots of stuff going on.
He has his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Worcester State University, and we're looking to bring him in at a step 2, which is $27.47 an hour with a 2-year benefit package as a full-time dispatcher.
Excellent. All right, any questions from the board?
No, this resume looks fine.
Oh, that's great. And do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to confirm the appointment of Aaron Berry as a full-time dispatcher with the Sturbridge Police Department effective October 3rd, 2023, with the hourly rate of $27.47 and the benefits of a 2-year employee minus longevity.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor? The ayes have it.
Where are you gonna go?
Congratulations.
Zukas and Spencer.
oh, nice place.
Gorgeous place up there. Thank you.
Lot going on, huh?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Early wedding present to him.
That's the thought, advice. Okay, Congratulations on both things.
Congratulations again.
All right, Lieutenant, thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Take
Lieutenant.
care, Lieutenant.
Okay, we are on to action item C. Consideration and possible action to confirm the appointment of Kathy Peterson to the Historical Committee for a term to expire November 17th, 2025. How you
So
doing?
Ms. Peterson and her husband popped into my office last week, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And they have moved here or back or here from Alaska.
Yes, we moved here for almost a year now.
And expressed interest in getting involved in town and community events and things that we have going on in town, and one conversation led to another, and I said, oh, I have an opening on Historic District. I have had a few applicants for it, but I thought having someone kind of with a unique perspective and sort of an outside set of eyes on things and a lot of energy to join this would be sort of a welcome addition into town. And we had a great conversation, probably half hour, 45 minutes. Well, first with your husband, and then he went out and got you. And then it went on for a little longer. And so I was really excited that we had a position and a place that Kathy could join us and was interested in taking part of. And you can see she's got a little background in historic, so it's a good fit, I think. And so I bring her to you tonight for consideration.
Any questions from the board?
Thank you for getting involved.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I've always had some kind of volunteer thing that I've been doing, whether on the paperwork, I'm sure, you know, I did a trail sled dog race for 15 years, volunteered with, we were out in Sunderland for a while, so we volunteered with the trails out there. Finally, we're able to open some trails out there that had been closed for Lord knows how long. And so we've always been, my husband and I have always been very much interested in giving back to whatever cause we can come up with, so.
That's great. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
And if you are appointed, you can make it tomorrow before 2 o'clock to get sworn in. There's a meeting at 2 o'clock tomorrow, so if you.
At 2 o'clock tomorrow.
Yes, if you want to jump in, but if not, we understand. I just
No, I
found out
think I
today
can-
that the meeting is
I think I can
tomorrow.
do that.
So you just have to go to the clerk to get sworn in.
Okay.
All right,
Yes.
perfect. All right, with that, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to confirm the appointment of Kathy Peterson to the Historical Committee for a term to expire on November 17th, 2025.
Second that?
All right, all those in favor?
And she's already spoken about trails here and volunteering.
We're already working with the trail committee.
Already working with the trail committee, and she better hold on to herself here, because I got a few other places I think I want to put herself.
Do you enjoy living, I mean, you came all the way from Alaska, are you enjoying being a resident and community member in Sturbridge?
Absolutely. We were in Sunderland for a while, we went to the Cape for a while. I have 2 daughters that live close by and a son-in-law, so this was a lot closer to all of them. I have one out in Amherst, one in Oxford, and one in Uxbridge, so this was like right in the center of everything, and so we just absolutely love living here and thrilled about getting involved with the trails here, and we hike almost every day. I'm a little sore this afternoon. We hiked the trail up, what is it, Lead Mine Trail.
Yep.
And the one right below it, I can't remember the name of it. It's a orange and white trail now, and it was like up and down. Yeah, so I'm sore, but yeah, I'm thrilled. We're close to our kids. Alaska was fabulous for us. I retired from the state of Alaska, and I loved everything about Alaska. But as you get older, it's more difficult.
Yeah.
It's 9 months of winter.
And not a lot of light either at times, and then too much, right?
Well, we have rain, so.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much. Did we vote?
No.
Oh, we have a,
Yes, we did.
yeah, sorry. It's a long day. But thank you so much for coming aboard, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to action item D, Consideration and possible action on an application for a one-day liquor license for Alice Ranka, Alice's Fitness and Dance for a burlesque dance show at 179 Main Street, Sturbridge on December 1st and 2nd, 2023, and January 27th of 2024, March 23rd, and May 8th of 2024, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, so just tell us what you're doing.
So this is our second season. I was here with you last year for the first one. It's been wonderful. We've sold out every single show. So I'm just here to continue it on, and we're excited to get going with the second year.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions?
Now the pourer is tip certified,
Yes, yes, Lauren.
just to get that on the record.
Yep, it's in the application, I
Yeah,
believe, yeah.
I had trouble reading.
No, the copies.
sorry.
No, it's not you. I don't think it's your fault.
No,
it's-
it
it's-
didn't come out
Copy.
clear when it was,
No, it's,
I must have got the 20th copy.
oh, it's all right. These things happen. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, do I have a motion?
Okay, I'll have a motion to approve the application for a one-day liquor license for Alice Ranka / Alice's Fitness and Dance for a burlesque dance show at 179 Main Street, Sturbridge, on December 1st and 2nd, 2023, and January 27th, March 23rd, and May 18th, 2024, from 7 to 11.
A second.
I'll second.
All those in favor? All right, the ayes have it. Thank you so much for all you did.
So much, thank you.
All right, so then we move on to item F, consideration and possible action to authorize the chair to execute to execute the agreement between the town of Sturbridge and the Federated Church of Sturbridge.
You missed the oil. We need to heat the buildings.
Oh, I skipped the oil, sorry. Consideration and possible action to authorize the chair to execute the contract with Fratelli Oil for the price of $3.49 per gallon for oil for town buildings.
This comes per recommendation of the facilities manager. We shopped around for price. This is the best we can get, and most people don't want to come up to Sturbridge to deliver oil.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Nope, hearing none. Do I have a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to authorize the chair to execute the contract with Fratelli Oil for $3.449 per gallon for oil, for the town buildings.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? All right, the ayes have it. Now going on to where I skipped before. Action item F, consideration and possible action to authorize the chair to execute the agreement between the town of Sturbridge and the Federated Church of Sturbridge and Fiskdale for the use of real property located at 8 Maple Street, Sturbridge.
So this is the agreement to move the COA temporarily to the church during construction. This is part of the cost of the whole project, already been incorporated. Leslie has worked huge amounts of time with the church on hammering this agreement out. It falls within what we would have to do. It's under the procurement amount, so we are able to just work directly with the church. And we did search even prior for better places, better prices, and the church has been more than fair. It's a 12-month thankfully, we did a possible extension of up to 3 months. Figuring we might hit this 15-month thing, which we did, it looks like possibly. So that's what this is.
All right, any questions? All right, do I have a motion?
Your turn, Chase.
Good. I'll make a motion to authorize the chair to execute the agreement between the town of Sturbridge and the Federated Church of Sturbridge and Fiskdale for the use of real property located at 8 Maple Street, Sturbridge.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. All those in favor? Ayes
And
have
I
it.
just want to say for the record that I want to thank the Federated Church. They're very good partners for the community. And they have been over the years, from using their parking lot to stepping up and giving us a reasonable price when we needed to, displace our seniors during the construction period. So I just want to give a shout out to the Federated Church.
It's worth noting, they're wonderful partners.
Yeah.
So, all right, so moving To the Special Events Committee, consideration and possible action to expand the number of seats on the Special Events Committee to add an additional 3 vacancies.
So as you know, the Special Events Committee was actually designed or created or initiated by a former town administrator. It has had some success in the fact that it has come up with some events that have taken off. In that sense, it's had extraordinarily good success. The farmer's market generated out of there, as well as the road race has come out of there. I did have a member of the board approach me and indicate that she feels that there are a lot of people who have limited time that are on it, and that there really needs to be more voice, more people, more time. I might even try to recruit Kathy. I asked her if she was interested, potentially, because if you can run the Iditarod, you can probably run an event. And maybe have some creative ideas too. There've been so much good that comes out of it, but the person who spoke to me said that she feared that it had a little bit of a stagnation, and that maybe it needed a little bit more life. And so I would support. I have no problem with adding 3 members to it if I have.
How many are on it now?
5.
Yeah, we currently have 5. I'll wait until our TA
Yeah,
is
no,
done. And then I'll-
I'm done. Mary may have a better perspective to share on this.
Well, I guess what I'm going to do is request us to defer it to a future meeting, maybe the next one. I don't know if the committee itself has really had a chance to discuss it at length.
Okay. Yep.
And to vet how other members, I know the chair would like it expanded, and she mentioned that I had a reservation with respect to increase. I mean, I always think that 5 is a good number. 7 might be, we're pushing 8, now really, we try to have odd numbers.
Yeah.
That's pretty large to have 8 people. So, but I don't know, I don't want to speak for other members. I personally would probably, unless I hear from them, and I will do what the board, what that committee wants, but I don't think that the committee really discussed it long enough.
There's no rush.
The other thing I wanted to add is, it took us when Leon Goman organized it, there was supposed to be a recreational member on, there was supposed to be somebody from the Cultural Council, a Board of Select person representative, which is myself, and then 2 employees at large. We took a long time getting anybody interested in recreation. Annie did it for a while. She stepped up, but not a committee member. She stepped down. It was a lot of work for her when she's not on she's a staff person as opposed to a committee person. Nobody on the committee wanted it. On the Recreation Committee, they felt like they were busy enough doing their own activities, which is very understandable. They did take over the bonfire, which also originated with the Special Events Committee. They took over the bonfires. So it took us a long time to find anybody. We came back to the board and asked to loosen up the requirements because nobody on rec wanted to be on it. And that's when we got Johnny Rice, but it took several months. So I guess my concern with going to 8 people, and I want to talk to the committee about it, is when it's 8, now in order to have a quorum, we're going to need all 5 current members to be at every meeting. Because if we expand to 8, if only 4 of us show up, it's half of us. And we have enough meetings where it's 4 out of 5. So it's actually, I understand the chair's concern, but it's kind of going to cripple us if we can't fill those 3 vacancies pretty quickly.
Oh, the chairman thing.
Yeah.
No, I was like, I don't have any.
I would like to talk, I don't know how the rest of people feel.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, let's wait on it.
Just, if we could talk about it.
Let's table it, and then the note I would say, even number boards don't typically make
For some
sense.
reason, I thought 4 was,
They
I
don't
thought
make-
4 voting members, because
Yeah,
Terry's not a
5
voting member.
Well, we have myself, Lisa,
I thought it was
Kerry from the Cultural Council, Sandra Nasto, and Johnny Rice. We have 5 members,
It's
he's number
5 voting.
6.
Okay, I thought Terry was the
And-
5th non-voting. So
And
you,
I'll-
okay, so 7.
And I'll be honest, it's just a lot. We have we're making a lot of asks of people already to get on boards,
Yeah.
and it's
It doesn't,
You know, it's just
doesn't
another
always
three-
work out.
But I mean, the other board members may not feel like me. They may
Yeah.
want it.
No,
What
no.
we did agree with, and I need to talk to you, is we want more volunteers when it was supposed to be an idea generating board, when we think of something
Sure, yeah.
to step forward. So we've got the November Home of the Brave race coming up, which is like, I believe, our 7th, and we give it the money, the proceeds to veterans, which is a great 5K. But if we could go on the website, Robin, and ask for volunteers
Absolutely.
to
Event
man the,
volunteers.
water station, all that. And I think at least if we had more volunteers, and we also welcome the public, residents, if you're watching, if you have a good idea, you want to step forward. A couple of years ago, somebody wanted to put on an art show, and we were going to back her, and then she got busy and couldn't. So even with a 5-member board, we
promote
would
a
like
lot
more
more.
volunteers, at
Absolutely.
least.
Absolutely.
And I'll bring the subject back to the board and see if the rest of the board feels like our
Please
chair
do. Yep.
or not.
Yep.
If that's okay.
But I do feel like Jamie does, I don't like even number boards.
I agree
No,
with
I
that.
I
because
apologize.
it would
I
have to
thought
be
it was 7. I thought Terry was I thought Terry was in that 5 as a vote.
okay.
So it's 7.
So it would be, if you wanted to expand it,
It would be
2.
expanding 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it
Makes
should be
sense.
uneven.
Well, okay, so that's tabled, so we're gonna move
Yep.
on, unless anybody has anything else to say, to accepting the resignation letter from Carrie Ann Warren, effective September 26, 2023. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept the letter of resignation from Carrie Ann Warren, effective September 26, 2023.
And I will second that. All those in favor? All right, the ayes have it. And then I'm going to just make a motion to accept the resignation from Margaret Neves from the Design and Review Committee, effective September 18th, 2023, with thanks. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? And then I'm going to move to accept the resignation of our friend David Zonia from the Zoning Board of Appeals, effective September 12, 2023, with hopes that his health is on the mend and that he is doing well. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Okay, now that's an elected position,
Yes.
so we'll have to have a
it.
joint meeting.
Yep.
The zoning.
Yeah, so we need a.
We have to advertise the position
Yeah,
first.
of course, yeah.
30 days, I'm assuming, like school committee, but I'll check, but
Yeah.
we have to check the bylaws on that.
Okay, and then consideration and possible action to sign the proclamation between the Rotary Clubs of Sturbridge, Massachusetts and Starbridge, England.
We're back to our annual visit from our friends over the big pond.
Over the water.
Across the pond.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Let's have a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Great.
Okay, now you going to go to
Yeah, May
the,
30. Was it, not this week? the
It
following.
went the following week, and I know that you'll be invited to that Tuesday reception, but we have
Yeah.
the meeting now, but we could go, I think it starts at 5, so I'll probably
Okay,
walk
yeah.
over to the
Early,
reception
yeah.
Tuesday, and, yeah.
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 Make sure you send me the Tuesday reception, because that I don't know.
They're
if
supposed to
it's
send me
email.
formal invites.
Yeah,
and all.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm
And
sure Chris
Mary-
and Klaus will email.
And Mary, just so you know, Mr. Chair, has always read the proclamation into the record.
Yes.
Oh, you want this evening or after we sign?
After you
After
sign.
execution, yeah.
It's usually with a little pomp and circumstance, right, Mary?
right,
All right, I will bring my red coat. Consideration and possible action to authorize the chair to execute the contract with Massachusetts Broken Stone Company for the fiscal year 2024 road paving and reclaim project in the amount of $817,261.40, including the monthly asphalt price, amount, allowance, and line stripping items.
We had a bid opening on this with several bids, several competitive bids, and this was a significant low. So we were pleased with that.
Great,
And
okay.
they're ready to roll. They have materials and everything.
excellent.
Yep.
Do we have a motion?
Okay, so I make a motion that we accept and award the fiscal year '24 road paving and reclaim project to, do we have it written here?
Second that.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
I can't get it quick.
Yeah, so that's fine. So, all right, all those in favor? The ayes have it. All right, consideration and possible action, authorize the chair to execute the contract with Morton Salt Incorporated for the delivery of road salt for a price of $65.86 per ton.
So moved.
All those, second?
Second.
All those in favor? Ayes have it. Old business, Chase.
You know, the only other question I had, the nice new gas station sitting there across from Cornerstone Bank on Route 20. Is that a holdup with a?
Yep, we're finally, so they're moving along. That's the Noble Station?
Yes,
Next to the
yeah.
EV. So we finally, after a lot of tooth pulling and meetings and fights with DOT, got them to realize that putting in a light and allowing this to open while a man had $12 million invested in a building that was about done, that he could not open, was problematic when they were holding out for their project that might not get done till, another 10 or 15 years. DOT finally approved him moving forward, like, he's paying for it.
Right.
But that finally moved forward. That's why there has been a lot more activity there of late. And we're hopeful he will see an opening soon. He's hustling because he's been sitting on like 12 million invested.
Right.
And now with the light, the EV station will start to move forward.
So we're gonna, there'll be where the light's gonna be right at that.
Right at that gas station.
Yeah.
Cornerstone is willing to give, it's a small portion of their land,
Yeah.
a lot less than, they were trying to make him do a roundabout, which was gonna be several million more for him. And Cornerstone didn't want to give the land, and on top of it, it actually was going to impact it was gonna make their site non-conforming.
So this light is going to, and you'll be cutting across both directions, it's multi-directional light?
Yes, it's multi-directional, and
Yeah.
Cornerstone, I think, will have an access to it as well where they are.
Okay.
DOT has approved it, it met all the warrants for a light from the beginning. It was just,
Okay.
who knows what it was.
So, well, I mean, it's
I can tell you-
probably not a bad thing to slow down a bit there, but, and the Starbucks that they were talking about putting on the next to the pike?
Yeah.
That's not going forward, right?
At this point, it does not appear so. That was gonna be Starbucks and another, which would have been a very nice business to have in there. But again, DOT issues, access issues.
Well, honestly, I'd rather have the people buy coffee in the local shop, so I'm not that
But the
disappointed.
other building that was gonna go
I
in there
know.
would have been very beneficial for the town,
I get it,
unfortunately.
but it did seem like a little bit of a dangerous spot anyways, but, all right, neither here nor there.
We have some wonderful local coffee shops.
Oh, yes, we
Every-
do.
Yeah, buy your coffee local, not a
Yeah, we
chain.
opened.
Yeah, but the locals buy local, the tourists buy
That would have been convenient. for
Dunkin'
them.
and
Although, sometimes if I'm up at 5, there's really Dunkin' single place. But regardless, Chase, anything else in,
Nothing else, thank you, Jim.
all right. Mary?
no.
Other Mary?
I probably should have brought it up during your update, but you were moving so much. Did we put anything for people in terms of the immigration letter?
Yes.
About wanting, those who want to donate, they can contact National Guard?
Yeah, well, and it's sort of still going through me, and now it's the Federated Church. It's been moving around, but I have had a lot of interaction on my Facebook page. I did put something out right after the meeting.
Oh, good.
Please reach out to me.
Okay.
And I will guide you in the right direction. And now I'm dividing it between a person that the state has sort of unofficially put as the donation collector, and then if it's services that people want to give, I'm giving those to the Guard, and they're running those up the state flagpole. There's
So-
still no real coordination, Mary.
Oh, no, okay, but the National Guard, you put it on your Facebook.
Yeah.
Is there, do you think you might, and I know you're so busy, but do you think you might be able to update your letter online?
Yeah.
Because I think it was, I just looked, it was like from September to say National Guard is now on it. You have something under the new,
Put Mary's name, I think last week I put a woman named Mary's name up, but I'll update that again.
I apologize if I was looking wrong, but when I went on the website, if you go into news, it says,
Oh, on the news, yeah, okay, it's on my, I updated my Facebook
Yeah,
page.
yeah.
Okay, if you
Okay.
can, Michelle, because
Yep.
that one's very early on, we're not getting a lot of information
The one from
yet.
last week has this woman, Mary, who's the local coordinator with her phone number for
Maybe just
donations.
say National Guard.
Yep,
Make it a little more current, that would be good.
yep, sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
No, it's understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess this is, I don't know if this is old or new.
Why don't you give it a shot under old and
All
we'll see how
right,
we
so
go.
I'll complain. I know it's the state's responsibility, right, to do all the weeds on 20 and 131.
I agree.
We're scheduled.
It's like our town is not open for business.
So we
It's
did,
awful.
yeah, we did 131 ourselves last week,
Okay.
cleaned up a whole area, and we have been going back and forth with the state on a whole strip of 20. They were supposed to do it 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It didn't get done for some reason, then weather, then something
Right,
else.
but Heather's on it
Heather's on
because
it.
I don't think
Heather-
it's been this
no,
bad.
it's horrible. Plus, everything
Well,
grew a
it's a
lot
state,
this
if you
year.
go, it's that way everywhere.
Yeah, it's a mess all
Yeah,
over.
well, I
everywhere.
I can
Yeah.
only
But we
speak
are on
about
it, we are
town.
trying to get.
I mean,
yeah.
they did the weeds in the sidewalk cracks
Oh, yes.
for the curb.
When you
which
said
was
everywhere, I
also
thought you meant in Massachusetts, that's why I said I can only speak for Sturbridge. You mean everywhere in Sturbridge it's like that?
Everywhere in
Oh,
Massachusetts.
that is what you
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but some of the
But we are
other
on
roads
it,
are
yeah.
town roads.
Yeah, we're on it.
We're at the
Heather's-
mercy of the state.
Heather's knocking
Yeah,
on the
but
door
you
every day.
can go down the Mass Pike.
The troopers have told me to stop using weed whackers. And they're like, get out of here, guys, it's state land. That's a joke, guys.
Things are growing fast. I will say things are growing fast this year with the rain, but yes.
All right, but she's on it
Yes,
in any event.
absolutely. We
Okay.
get a lot of calls on it.
Yeah, so, anything else, Mary?
Nope.
I think, Mary, you didn't have anything in old?
No.
I have nothing under old, new. Mary Blanchard?
Nope.
Mary Dowling?
No.
Mary Kabinski?
No new, thank you.
All right. And then correspondence, didn't see any. Did we have any?
No.
Yeah. And then approval of minutes.
I did mention to Michelle to do one new one and one old one every week, as you guys had asked.
Yeah.
Just a current and a back one.
Thank you, Michelle.
Start off really good. She's getting there.
No, it's life happens.
Don't make them so wordy. Because, yeah, well, I mean,
We're recorded anyway.
all the,
I have cut them down.
the information is,
Recorded it.
it's recorded. I mean, you should have motion, second, vote.
Bada bing. Like the
All
way you
it's
think, sister.
required.
All right, so on that note, on the November 7th, 2022 minutes, do we have any comments?
I don't.
Chase, Mary Dowling? All right, do I have a motion to approve the November 7th, 2022 minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, how do you vote?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You were there. The ayes have it.
Yep.
Moving to September 18th, 2023. Do we have any changes?
Yes. Only because it was quite confusing. On page 61, the one-day liquor license, down at the bottom.
Yep. Hardwick, for Sturbridge Harvest Festival, yep.
Yeah. Mary actually voted in favor because she was doing something else.
Oh, yes.
And then, when it dawned on her, she wanted to revote, and I said, well, I can make a motion to reconsider. And then she said, no, leave it.
That's
So-
true.
Oh, okay, so.
So it was five, yeah.
Okay.
So it's five.
Yep.
So it's just 4-0 then, right?
Five. Oh,
No, there was only 4 people.
No, it was 4-0.
Yeah, Mary.
4-0-1,
was
so
absent.
it should just be 4-2-0, no extra, no abstention.
Yeah, we didn't end up redoing it at that point.
Okay.
It was gonna pass regardless.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah, so it should be 3-0. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was,
I just have one too, Mr. Chair. On the first page, Selectman Dowling has had requests that the public be able to speak regarding, I don't know, did I call it a dish booster?
No, I called it a
I
booster.
call it an
because-
antenna.
You called it an antenna, I referenced it as the booster because that's what it was, but
Okay.
yeah, however you want it, if you want to rephrase it.
Antenna, and then put, parentheses. That's just not a term I knew, so I knew I didn't use
No, and it
it.
wasn't a quote from, yeah, it was more the, yeah, okay.
Okay.
You have a much better sense of your own vocabulary than I do.
Yes,
a new one on me.
All right, with that, is there
Okay,
anything
I'll
else?
make a motion to approve the minutes of September 18th, 2023 as amended.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
All those in favor? The ayes have it. Citizens Forum, seeing no one, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, and all those in favor? The ayes have it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.